Welcome, gentlemen, to the Loose Dads podcast.
Hello and welcome to Loose Dads from Dadsnet. It's a very strange show tonight. It is our last podcast as Loose Dads. There are helplines that have been set up, like when went their separate ways. And you can just rest assured, it is sad at the moment, but in 5 years' time, when we announce that big comeback stadium tour, you are going to be there, front of the stage.
Nice.
But who's the Robbie?
Ooh, that's awkward, isn't it? I'm not sure whether he was the talent, was he? Or was he the annoying one? I don't know. Should have worked on that for my intro for the podcast.
Yes.
So there are two different intros for today's podcast. So I'm going to go with the one that's like a normal intro. All right, first of all. So we're recording this. We're streaming this live on the week that the World Cup starts, the Football World Cup, the Men's Football World Cup. So I thought I'd introduce the panel as things to do with football, people and things to do with football. Sparky, you would be Elton Jose Javier Gomez. I don't know if you know why.
Is he short?
Yes, shortest footballer of all time at 1.54 meters.
I bet he was good though. I bet he was good.
Yeah, that is the equivalent of 2 Sparkies, if you're interested. Brad, I'd be interested to know if you know this person. You'd be Tokyo Sawale. Sakwale, yes. So Tokyo Sakwale, yeah.
Nice.
Do you know why?
No.
Well, one is South African, right?
Yeah.
That's
Well, yeah.
King. Yeah.
King got that one. Nice.
He was a freedom fighter. He was imprisoned
Yes.
with Nelson Mandela.
Yes.
He also, at one point, went on to try and get the FIFA presidency. So he's related to football.
I didn't know that.
My favorite bit about it is that Sakwale is how he's pronounced, but he's actually, if you read his name in very
Sex whale.
basic English, it's Tokyo Sex Whale. And
Could be more Brad.
that sounds like the headline for one of Brad's news stories.
Love it, dude. I love it. Love it.
Amazing.
Jack is here. Jack, if you've ever, if you are friends with Jack on Facebook, you know that there is a hefty marketplace in and out thing going on there with guitars and bits of guitars. After Nottingham Forest made 22 transfers in pre-season, Jack is the Nottingham Forest of the guitar-based trading area.
Yeah. I'll take it. Given my knowledge of football, I'll take it.
Just can't get enough. He just can't get enough guitars. That's their song.
Yeah, there you go. And I'd be Dixie Dean because he's really old. So yeah.
But I'm sure he's a legend, just like you.
Absolutely, yeah. And the other intro was basically, I did toy with the idea of just coming on saying, let me introduce you to the Loose Dads. Sparky is short. Jackie's bald and from Norfolk, and Brad's South African.
Oh, yes.
So there you go. Hey, should we do some stuff? I don't even know. I've forgotten what we're even meant to be doing. Let's do the news. That's it. The news. Just before we get into the news, I love that this is a big thing for us. It's our last show of Loose Dads after 2 years. And in the comments on Facebook, someone's going, we're at a pub quiz. Can you help us with a question? Helen, Tony, Stu and Joe.
Just so you know, the answer is Alan McGee, in case that helps you guys.
If they want to know who was the manager of Primal Scream.
And Brad, that's a South African name there, the middle one. Can you read that, please?
Punny?
There we go.
Well, if you wanted to know the official South African pronunciation, that might be it.
That is my mum, my stepdad, and my Auntie Jo.
Oh, well, there you go.
Nice that they're tuned in, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they're not though, are they?
I mean,
they're at the pub.
No, they're not.
I mean, but that sort of sideline support is exactly the sort of support.
You know
Wait
what?
before.
I was actually thinking about this today when I was on the toilet, straddling it backwards.
In a Jack sort of style.
Just in memory of Jack. And I was sitting there thinking, we've been doing this for 2 years, and not once has any of my family members, bar my brother, made one quick random appearance in this and then legged it. Right? How pathetic. They're all off of my bloody Christmas card list, and that's terrible.
Oh man, imagine what our listener numbers would have been if your family had just
You know
listened.
what I'm saying,
Yeah.
dude? Yeah.
Exactly. We wouldn't be quitting now, would we? We've gotten on to higher heights.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
We'd be
That
touring Johannesburg and everything. Like we're going on
Yes.
tour.
You know what? I'm actually going to put down this. I'm going to say the Loose Dads failure was down to you guys.
Yeah.
You guys. And
It's on you.
yeah, it's all on you guys. Thanks for ruining my life.
This
Brad.
is the big news of the week. If you wanted to know the big news story, it is Loose Dads splitting up. This is going to take over everything. Forget Russia and Ukraine. Forget Matt Hancock in the jungle. This is what they're all going to be reporting. So here we are at the end of it. And,
It's got a last day of school vibe, doesn't it?
it
Like-
really does.
Yeah. Who's
Like
going to
the
sign
da-
my T-shirt? Like, come on.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Dad's
yeah.
Net have got some like younger podcast people to sit by the fire alarm so we don't set them off as we go out.
Yeah. It's almost like this is our matriculation.
Yes.
Yes.
In many ways, it is.
Yes.
Like, is this going to be a podcast like just for the hardcore listeners?
Yeah. You
If
need
you've
to have
listened
listened
to
to
100 episodes. You will references.
So yeah, we've been going 100 episodes, 2 years we've been going, and during that time we've learned a lot about each other, although mainly the same things. So we've learned Sparky gets up early. I don't know if you notice, he doesn't like to talk about it very much. I'd like to see some breakdowns of the percentages of how many episodes he's mentioned that he wakes up early on.
Okay. Oh yeah. I mean, I'd go with a good 80 of the 100. I mean, I would be confident
Yeah.
with that, guys. It's good stats.
That's it. It's easy percentage working out, isn't it? Over 100
Yeah, that's why we
episodes.
quit now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Could have gone on till Christmas, but it would have made it more difficult. Than
Hey,
it is.
guys.
Calculated.
We're making a mistake because if someone's listening for the first time, they've got a whole lot of good catching up to do on the other 100 episodes that we've got. Let's not spoil it for them. We should say no spoilers before, guys.
No, these are all like little gold nuggets. I'll be like, what was that about? Oh, I'll have to go back and listen to all 100.
Exactly.
I've got that problem at the moment. For some reason, I used to love the Richard Herring Leicester Square Theatre podcast, but then we got into lockdown, and for some reason, I just didn't fancy listening to it. And now, 2.5 years later, I've started listening again, but from the most recent. And so there's 2.5 years of back references that I don't get, that I'm going to get like in the next probably year as I go back over them. Go, oh, that's why he was talking about that.
I had the same thing, dude. Like my uncle and my cousin used to love listening to a Kevin Smith podcast years ago when my uncle was still around. And my cousin's like, no, you got to listen to it. You got to listen to it. And then I started listening to like the most recent, but there was like 8 years before that. And exactly what you say, Jim, you're like, oh man, there's a lot of references here I'm not understanding. So then I went right back to the beginning. I didn't listen to all 8 years worth, by the way. I think I got to maybe like season 2.
Come on, Brady. Are you into it or not, mate? Come on. I mean, it's about commitment for a podcast.
Yeah, no.
I had the same problem with Top Boy. If you watch Top Boy on Netflix, it's really confusing. It says Top Boy Season 1, which is actually Top Boy Season 3. But they've made Top Boy Season 1 and Season 2 Top Boy Summer House Season 1 and Season 2, then Top Boy Season 1. And it's really confusing. So I was watching things going, I'm a bit confused by this. Then I saw the others and was like, hang on, this is earlier in time. Oh, that's why. Oh, I see.
They've done you on that one.
They've done me, Netflix. You know.
I'm going to say you just confused the living shit out of me there, Jim.
I mean, you
not
try
that hard.
watching it. The next
So
one
that is over living through a global pandemic together. What else has happened? Hold on. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The pound crashing 19% prime ministers.
Yeah.
You like, come on, at least loose dads lasted longer than a lettuce, and I'm at least pleased about that, guys.
But like we've been through some stuff with each other. Like we've often called this therapy for each other,
Yeah.
haven't we?
100.
You know, we get on every week and just bitch and moan. But like when we started, Jackson was what, 6 months old?
Yeah. And
Like that's genuinely how I have marked the time as things have gone on.
Wow,
It's because I
man.
know Jackson was 6 months old when we started.
jeez. Yeah, like I could do a podcast with him asleep there behind us and stuff. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
now he's telling me, not you, mummy. Like, so I mean, yeah. We've
Yeah,
been through
like,
a lot.
We've been through a
Turning
lot. We've
into a
been through
full-on
all
jerk.
Brad's. Yeah, all Brad's renovations. Been
Yeah.
through all of
Oh,
them.
not all of them, dude. There's still more to come, and that's a shame. Dude.
I'm
I'm not going to
gutted.
be able to. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to chat about the new ones coming up, man.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like,
we'll have like a
renov-
renovation podcast now.
I was going to trying to do it because we've been through renovations. Our builders finished this week, 13 weeks
Hey.
into a
Ah.
5-week job. And he's last week. His dog died for the second time in a week. It was bizarre.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Gosh,
He was-
I tell you.
He's a man with many excuses
Many dogs.
and many dogs, evidently.
You know what?
I-
I can't hold any fault to him on that one because growing up in primary school, I can't remember how many times I had a grandparent die on me. So I've been there.
So but he genuinely did, yeah. So he told me that he couldn't come one day because he had his dog put down, and then he's working at the end of the road. Before he finished our job, he'd started a new job at the end of the road, which was kind of where everything hit the fan, and I started going over and like telling him he had to come around. And then he told the other woman at the end of the road that he couldn't come one day because he was having his dog put down again a week later. But he didn't realize that we were talking to each other.
Oh, snap.
Talking about, you know, the things we've been through, Peter's summed it up quite nicely. 3 prime ministers, 2 monarchs, and God knows how many chancellors.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought about it in the car on the way home. When I started this podcast, I was an alcoholic vegan, and now I'm a teetotal meat eater.
Brad will do that to you, Jack.
Yeah.
Brad will do that to you.
I don't know what influence you guys have had on me, but
Well, it's a bit yin and yang, isn't it? You know, like there's one side gets better, the other side has to get worse.
yes.
I was gonna say, and also though, sometimes some people just remain the same. Because when we started this, I was just an egomaniac, opinionated douchebag, and now I'm still an egomaniac, opinionated douchebag. So some of our character arcs just remain the same.
And I think that consistency has really held us through there. We really appreciate your efforts on that part. So you got a dog during that, you know, during the run.
Oh,
didn't you?
geez, yeah.
Yeah,
Dog owner?
yeah. It's like having a third child. It's a lot of work.
Oh, man. Seems like a great idea when they're a cute puppy, and I guess now they're just a big annoying dog. Right?
Oh, you know what? Though,
Same
dude,
with
I
children, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know, but like before you have children, you just think, yes, I'm going to have a lot of unprotected sex and it's going to be fun. And then the kids are like the byproducts, and you're like, oh, man. Oh. But I love my kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, Brad. Slip that
the
in there if they're
catchphrase-
watching this in 2029 or something like that, you know.
It's the catchphrase of this show, isn't it? You know, you tell a story and go, I love my kids, but
But it's the same as saying to someone, no offense, but. And then you know they're going to say something offensive. It's like, I love my kids, but.
I wonder if they're going to have to form, all of our kids are going to have to form some kind of support group in years to come and watch this together in order to get through it.
you know
I
what would
can't
be
wait for their
amazing?
podcast.
I was going to say, like, El's got to do this. El has got to keep tabs on the kids for like within the next, like, say 8 to 10 years and get the kids all on.
Loose kids.
Loose kids.
The title was bit that I came up with a little bit more offensive than that. Let's move it on. No, Jim, I won't because I don't want to see the disappointment.
No, you need to. It's not the day
to
to be holding back, is it?
No, I was just going to say this is loose dad's juice, and it's just like the kids. See, sorry guys, I've had literally 3 sips of this glass of red wine, and I'm got a filthy tongue already, guys.
This is the goodbye party. This is.
Yeah. Like you say, last day of term. What are they going to do? Sack me? Like, you kick me off the podcast? All right, then. Fine, let's just say all sorts of stuff.
Well, let's keep some kind of structure. Does anyone else? I mean, I know this is the major news. There probably isn't anything else worth discussing. But has anyone got another news story? Sparky, how about you?
Yeah, have you seen that news story today? Like, it's ridiculous, and this is why just don't bother trying to be a nice person. Don't bother, right?
Yeah, that's the moral to take from this show.
No, this will prove it, though, right? So, if you see the story, this guy was traveling around the world. He was in Berlin, in Germany, on a train station. Sees this little folded up piece of paper on the floor and picks it up and's like, "Okay, what's this?" Opens it, and it's a check for 4-point-something million euros written out to Haribo, your kid's favorite sweet company.
Wow.
So you're like, okay, wow, right? So what do you think? You think, okay, well, Haribo doing all right. They're like a multi-million pound company. I've found this. If they give me 1% of this, that's like, that's enough for a deposit or to keep traveling around the world for another 2 years. Right? Surely they're going to be so nice to me, and I'm going to look like a stand-up citizen for handing in a 4 million euro check. What do you think Haribo gave him?
A pack of sweets.
Sweet,
Some
fuck all.
fantastics.
Not even Tangfastics, like the crap ones. They gave him 6 packets, 6 £1 packets of sweets. That's it. Like, oh, sorry. And a thank you card. But you're like, come on, Haribo. Come on, Haribo.
I mean,
Also, though, in this day and age, who's using checks?
oh no, that's the strange thing,
yeah.
isn't it? Like,
It was from a big company. What it was like, I guess a big order had been bought by, I don't know, Johnny Tesco's of Germany. And and they would just, it was like a sales order or whatever. So it was an important piece of paper to transfer that money. But yeah, just did that. But it just made me, it reminded me of a story when I didn't hand some money in, and now I feel happy that I didn't when I found it.
You've only got some sweets.
Should I tell you the story? No, because genuinely I lived with guilt for it because it was a lot of money. Like I found a white envelope on the floor, unmarked, no tracking, like no way of tracking it, like who owned it or whatever, because it was just cash. It was a white envelope, and when you pick up an envelope and or if you ever had a cash, like when you've drawn out for holiday money or something, that spring that you feel to money. When I touched the envelope, I was like,
We all know that from the Loose Dad sponsorships.
When you get your lucrative paycheck from Al, you know what I mean? So I went round the alley from town where I found it, tore it, and just saw all the serial numbers down the side of like £20 notes, and I was like, "Oi, this is cool." So I was like, I just panicked, went home, and I just remember sitting there and counting it out like 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, bam, 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 bam. Got all the way to £800. I was like a 16-year-old kid at this time. Like, I was 17 because I learned to drive with the money. But I was like, this is amazing, right? And every part of my conscience, I had like nightmares for about a week of like being caught with this money. I was thinking I should hand it in, but I just remember someone saying, "Well, don't hand it in; it's cash." Like someone will go, "Oh yeah, well, take that and see if anyone claims it," and then divvy it up between whoever you hand it into, right? Right.
I mean, you don't know that for sure, but yeah. Okay,
No, Jim, I've
if
been
it
dealing
makes
with
you
this
feel
guilt.
better, fine.
Yeah.
Those pesky police officers.
Well, I mean,
Well, yeah, I know.
Maybe Jack, you've done journalism in the past. They might arrest you just for nothing. So don't worry about that. But no.
But guys, this makes a whole lot of sense. Cue a throwback to an earlier episode, because Sparky is the man who will steal from his kid's piggy bank.
Guys,
this is a pattern of behaviour. It's a pattern of behaviour.
We see where it started.
Look, guys. Yeah, well, it started on the.
He's already nicked
States.
800
dragged
quid.
up on, guys.
He's like, what's another £5? Jackson might miss that.
My conscience has already exploded.
Yeah. And you know what? He doesn't need all this cocaine either. I'm taking that.
Oh, mate, no, he always shares. He's good.
Did you not think with the 800 quid? Did you not think this could be owned by someone who's kind of badass? Who's going to be looking at this?
Yeah.
No, actually, it was more horrible guilt. Like it was real. I did think that, but that didn't frighten me because, like I said, I was counsel. I was like, "You come and fight me then," But no, it was people. I thought, God, what if someone was going to just like get engaged with that money and then they've broken up because they've lost the money, or what? Like I said, I wasn't even exaggerating. I earned that money. Well, I didn't earn it, but through the guilt, like I did have 2 weeks of solid guilt thinking, and then I started giving it away. Like it's the only time in my life I've ever gone like I gave everyone in my family £20 as well. Like my mum £20. I was just like, you treat yourself
Trying
to
to
something.
spread the guilt. Yeah.
That's it. That's called laundering, isn't it, guys? I mean,
Yeah, I think it is.
Did you eventually reach a point where you just went, I can't feel it. Losers, finders keepers, losers weepers. Man, this is actually all mine now. I'm done.
Oh man.
I mean,
Sparky has a pay rate like what a nightmare every night is what, an hour max.
Yeah.
So you
Thank
get
you.
him 50-60 quid per hour there. I think
for anguish.
For
You did pretty
17
well.
years old as well, that is pretty good to be.
Actually, it's if you think about it, like I think they rate like REM sleep is only like 3 to 5 minutes or something stupid, isn't it?
No, that's why I'm losing my religion.
Yeah.
Hey, you wouldn't be.
All I'm seeing is shiny, happy people, though.
Oh.
That's Jack in the corner.
But you know what? With this potty ending, I'm sure to a lot of people it feels like it's the end of the world.
Yeah,
we know it.
Okay. Yeah.
I think of
And
another
if
one.
we keep telling all of these jokes, everybody hurts. I feel bad, Sparky, for the person who lost it, because I know from experience when you lose a large amount of money, it's kind of heartbreaking. Like there was this time I was in Portsmouth and I had an envelope full of £800 in £20 notes. No idea where it went.
Jim, I can give you it back £1 a week for the rest of my life. Sorry, £1 a month, isn't it? That's the sort of deals you can strike. Isn't it?
That sounds right. Jack, have you got a news story?
I do. I probably should have checked this beforehand, but Brad, is your news story about porn?
No.
Okay, cool. I didn't
What?
want to.
Are you
wanna
going?
step
Are
on
you
your
going
toes.
softcore for the last episode, Brad?
Are you going soft, Brad?
Yeah.
This is one of those episodes where Brad suddenly turns around. He's got a really serious story, and it.
I mean,
bums us all out.
I did it once to you guys, and like,
Yeah.
No, I felt quite dirty about it afterwards. So I won't do that again. Don't worry.
Well, no, I had two news stories that I could bring, and one of them is like this joyful thing about the UK's oldest first-time house buyer, and I was like, that is such a wholesome, lovely story to bring in a world where the economy is crashing. But then I saw one about porn, and I was like, no, I'm doing that one.
Go on,
This is
Jack.
who stands, and it's the last episode. Therapist explains how watching too much porn affects your brain.
Okay, how?
So it
Big
can
brain,
be a
little brain.
Big brain. It can act as a super stimulant, you see.
Okay.
So it can be linked to performance anxiety, erectile dysfunction, sexual inadequacy, and also body image negativity. Obviously, because you're watching, it's the Instagram of the sex world, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you're just seeing, you're not seeing Dave from down the road have gone his missus. I mean, there are sites for that. But
Thank goodness, is what I said.
what you're seeing is someone with a dick twice the size of yours who's having sex.
Speak
with
for
a woman.
yourself.
Yes. What, 6 inches?
Say then that you were judging your behind the scenes by someone else's highlight reel.
Yeah, there we go.
Love that. Jim.
So basically, yeah, it can lead to all these things, but there's apparently signs that you are addicted to porn because it's a stimulant and therefore you can get addicted to it. So signs that you've been watching too much porn include too much porn. Include brain fog. There we go.
Yeah.
Tiredness, demotivation, and general intolerance. And I
Fucking hell,
thought,
that just sounds
like being a dad, right?
Yes. That's the problem, guys. Sorry.
Problem. Everything that you read about has the same symptoms, and they're all the symptoms of being a parent. Like COVID now, they say that's all about being achy and old and irritable.
every cancer. It's all that. It's
Yeah.
all
Yes.
that. Those symptoms, isn't it? It's like that's why when you feel tired, don't Google it
Oh my god!
because you've
No,
got a
dude.
cancerous porn addiction.
And it's fatal.
But guys, don't worry. There is good news. You can fix your problem.
You can beat it.
But-
Hey! Is this with because it is November, is it? Are you going to talk about
no, not November. Well,
which is the maddest thing I learned in the last few
Wow.
years.
Stupid.
yeah, can't say I've partaken, but but Danny does keep trying.
Yes, man.
Basically, yeah, just stop wanking.
That's doctor's
Okay.
advice, is it?
yeah. Celibacy and keep away from porn and exercise more, and you sort of reset your brain.
And
Anyway, no one wanted the genuine advice, did they?
Yeah, but what do you do when everybody goes out? Like, what do you do? It's like,
when you got a night to yourself, you're like,
it's like okay,
uh,
could do some exercise or my
no,
laptop.
but genuinely,
there.
this therapist is like, make a list of the things that you have sacrificed for this addiction
wanking.
and vow to get them back. I'm like, oh god, like I sacrificed, I don't know, putting the kettle on, like it's not that long.
Yeah, it's not like someone who's taken out loans to spend on gambling, is it? You've sacrificed, kind of being able to buy a house or something. You sacrificed 2 or 3 minutes here or there, really, haven't you?
Unless you're on one of them Tuesday nights where it takes you ages to decide what. Sorry,
What
is that just
what
me?
kind of a guy am I tonight?
Is that just me?
You're like
20
swipe.
minutes.
No, that's not good. No, swipe.
Nah,
No, that's
like-
not good. Swipe. No, that's not
You
good.
always
you see,
and then
this-
one. Sorry, this is going dark for the last episode, but you're always disappointed.
No,
in
this
the
is.
end and ashamed of yourself.
You know what? It's funny that I told Shay about that once. I said, listen, right, there's a thing that after ejaculation, men will be like, I actually feel quite sad and miserable. And she's like, what? I'm like, it's quite a common thing. She still doesn't believe it, really. She's quite like, she doesn't believe it can be a thing. It's like, you honestly will sit there and be disgusted with yourself.
Yeah.
Once
It's
again,
a shame she doesn't listen to this
I know,
because then she could hear.
Exactly. It's like I'm seeing all these messages in like coming up, obviously, because I am no longer part of Facebook, so I can't even log in to see who's here. But I can see messages of like, yeah, I'm a loose wife. And I'm like, oh, maybe Shay's actually logged in. I'm like, no, I don't think
that's
she
funny.
has.
That's
Oh.
funny. When we were talking about starting a Loose Kids podcast, she
Yeah.
chimed in with Loose Wives.
We put her and SJ together once before, Jack, and that was dangerous. So be careful, mate.
Yeah, like yeah, not my wife. No, she doesn't want to listen. She's gonna-
can I can
Shame
we
it.
just find out what Brad's news story is? His last ever news story.
Jim's still trying to make a podcast here, and we've got to respect that,
Sorry.
guys.
But I mean, there's a sponsor, so we have to. But but
So-
also, is not anyone else not intrigued about what Brad's bringing for the last
Oh
episode?
yeah, I'm so
Sorry,
curious.
definitely.
I'm also just to say I was hoping that Sparky would have done his usual. Oh, I actually do have a news story for you, Jim. He didn't. He didn't. I was a little bit gutted. Yeah. But,
Sorry,
wow. Caught me
Go
off
li-
guard, Jim, but I just happened to have one.
guys. Go listen to episode 100, 99,
Yeah.
98. You'll get some of that.
All right, so mine kind of ties into a little bit of Jack's. A doctor warns, and this is a public service announcement, guys, for all men out there that this is relevant for. A doctor warns against getting surgery for a bigger penis.
Okay.
Be happy we got
Just
you
a
got.
PSA. He says there's two methods to doing it. Which one is they basically slice the ligament to make it look longer. Only
What?
problem with that, yeah. So apparently, I don't know, without going into it, but I guess,
Oh my god! Like they cut it in half
Not-
and then unfold it.
Not the banjo string.
well, yeah, they slice. Yeah, exactly, and they can elongate it. However, I don't know, right? I don't know the ins and outs. However, he has said the problem being is ligaments don't grow back strong, so you might have that much extra. But what happens
12-inch
is
frothy.
the slightest pressure and it bends, and you can actually break your penis, which I'm not a fan of. The other one is to not make it longer, but to make it thicker, add some girth, and they inject fat into it, which then it gives you one of those ribbed condom vibes. So you have lumpy bits all over your bell end and your knob.
Not.
So he has just said, just be happy with what you got and use it to the best of its abilities. Which I just felt like I needed to put this PSA out there for any man who ever contemplates being that stupid.
Do you know who fixed that one for me? That insecurity, Dan Joyce from Dirty Sanchez. Did you ever watch Dirty Sanchez?
Has he got
the
a tiny
MTV
one?
era? No, he used to just get it out all the time, like because they like put it over a pocket on a pool table and someone would smack a pool ball at it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then everyone would be like, "Why do you just get it out? Like, are you not embarrassed?" And he's like, "No, like that's what I've got. Can't do anything about it. It's my dick. I'll just get on with it." And I was like, "That's the attitude to have. That's what you've got.
Yeah.
It's attached to you. Just get on with it."
I'm delighted to see, by the way, that the moment that Connor came in, he says he's sorry he's late, baby knackered him out, and he ended up having an old man nap, was just when Brad was explaining the intimate details of the surgery. That, I mean, I don't know how it sounded to you, but that put me off going anywhere near any medical establishment forever.
Yeah. Just avoid it.
I'm
Connor's
disappointed. There's not like a graft option, like a skin graft hair transplant sort of option. You know, like cut a finger off and pop it on the end.
Yeah, medical science. What are you messing about with? Trying to cure diseases. Hey,
work out how to put a finger on my dick.
Just
They
give
haven't taken
it
up
a little
the time.
rhino nose.
They hadn't taken up the time in the last couple of years making a COVID vaccine. That's what they could have been working on.
Exactly.
This is Loose Dads from Dadsnet. We've got a very serious big question coming up. We need your memories, please, of the last 100 episodes. That's on the way very soon on Loose Dads. Farshawe and Dadsnet have got together and we're running this study on the positive impacts of dads reading with their children. So what we've done is Farshawe have given us a load of books. We've distributed them to some dads. They've chosen them with their kids. And now they're spending their time reading with their kids and enjoying kind of the fruits of that activity every night. So we've been doing it as well. How's it been going for you, lads? Sparky, are you getting any closer to being able to read to Jackson, or is he still trying to read for himself?
He's still very much in control of the situation, but I would say another win this week for the dad-son reading connection that we're trying to get out of this with Farshawe, right? And it was actually last night. We had another 2 books arrive. In fact, the last 2 books, I think, from Farshawe. So we got them out, and actually, his mum came in from work and was like, "Oh, let's have a look at your new books. Would you like me to read one to you, Jackson?" And he went, "No, Daddy reads." And I was and he actually said, and I have not been in his good books. I've had so much in the last month and a half of him going, "No, Mummy, not you, Daddy. Mummy, I don't want you, Daddy." Like lots of that. And he went, "No, Mummy, Daddy's my best friend." And it was like, it was. I mean, that's the one time he's been nice to me. Like he's gone back. Mummy put me to bed tonight. But and I was like, this reading thing's really been working because it's a thing that a connection. I mean, his mum does spend time reading with him too, but this connection he sees is us. Like because I do the silly voices like Jack encouraged me to do, and we sing songs and be dramatic and look at all the pictures, point out everything. That's what Daddy does with him, and like I'm chuffed with that because for all the things that his mum gets and all that pure love that he just naturally happens. And I mean, did that happen with your kids too? That just I love my mum more than I love you, Dad, like type thing. Like it just
like from time to time. So at bedtime we will say to our kids, right, who do you want to read your stories? And it's like a knife to the heart when they choose their mum. And you're like, yeah, it's fine.
But I got one of those wins yesterday.
You get one of those wins, yeah.
So I mean, it's paying off, guys. It's so good, and it's fun. It's actually got me better at reading too, as well.
I just don't give the option though. Don't give the option. No. Like, boys, it's me. Me or no books, bro. Me or no books. Which one you
Stamp your
picking?
literary authority. You know, definitely do it.
Damn straight. I'll be like, do you think your mother's gonna put all the odd voices that I do trying to be creative? Nah. You want a little bit of pizzazz with your reading, kids?
Exactly.
It's me.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
That's the voice of the fox, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought he was Geordie, Jack, wasn't it? Was your what?
No,
No, that's
fox is
Jim's
Geordie.
fox. That's Jim.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Jim's-
my fox is Geordie.
I said my fox was posh.
Yes, and apparently northern people can't be posh. But you know, whatever.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Just going by what I know from you, Jim.
Well, no,
Ah!
as a case study, yeah, okay, I see. With the voices thing, I was really proud because we've been doing this, obviously, you know, quite intently. I've been doing the voices as we've been talking about, and then today, my son came home and he's got like this reading box, and they give him like a hot chocolate and then a reading book, and then they have to write in a book about what they thought of the book and what their favorite books are, and it was a book called The Day the Crayons Quit. I don't know if you've read that one. It's a really good book. But it was a bit like complicated for him to read himself, and I was going to read it for him. But then his sister swooped in, and she decided to do it, and I was really proud because every page is like a different crayon writing to this kid who owns the crayons, and she did them all in different weird voices, and I was like, "Yes, that's how you do it. I've
Yes.
taught you well."
Oh, that's
Amazing.
so nice.
That's
Amazing.
awesome.
So we will let you know how this survey goes, this study that we're doing with Farshore and Dadsnet, and you'll be able to find the results on dadsnet.com. And hopefully there will be a lot of more inspired dads and kids and lots more reading going on. Right, this is Loose Dads. Let's do the big question of the week.
The big question of the week.
The big question of the week.
And the big question of the week this week is not taken from someone else on one of the Dadsnet groups. It's taken from a post we did. What is your best memory of Loose Dads? It's our last episode. We've done 100. This is the 101st episode, right? This is Room 101. And
that's where we're getting put after this, right?
Absolutely. 2 years of this show. Everyone's favorite moment. Has anyone had a think about their favorite moment? Sparky, what's yours?
Well, I think there's like a few. I just loved that episode before we decided that we needed to probably swear a little less because we'd have sponsorship on the show. And it was the big Brad rant episode where I think in that episode, he said F 2020 over 50 times. And the passion and the pure frustration of being on lockdown was that just brings me back real funny memories of just like how much fun it was. Like when lockdown sucked, Brad really did be the voice of the people on our podcast.
Mate, I've genuinely got it down as one of my favourite memories of this podcast is when a sponsor pulled out because we swore too much.
Imagine it cost me money.
It was a bank, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa. Don't forget, at the beginning, it was Jack and I that were the two swearing machines, dude, if you recall. It was just that one episode where I was just a little bit excessive.
Well, because we got two radio professionals, like two
I know,
actual
yeah, exactly.
presenters, and then me and you, like me a producer and you a video guy, and we're like, F this, F that. And my grandparents actually said, it's very good, but there's a lot of swearing, isn't there? Maybe tone the swearing down. Yeah.
Sparky's Bachelors. That's one of the
yeah.
memories there.
The bouncing on the bed for penetration. That's Joe who said that. It was the Mormons or something. They can't have sex.
Yeah.
So teenagers
yes,
are
that was it. Yes, they could
putting the P in the V and then getting a mate to bounce
and they
on
were
the
having
bed.
a mate to bounce on the bed because as long as they weren't doing the motion, it didn't count.
Wow. I like the matriculation episode. I think was that was a joy when Brad said the word matriculation as if everyone else knew what it was.
Well, to be honest, it's like such a common word for us back home. I did okay. In my defense, it's never really come up in conversation since I moved to the country, and it was kind of really the first time I brought it up. So I was just like, oh, it must be a word that everyone knows. And then to like be, on the end of receiving you guys just staring at me blankly, I was like, all right, this is not a thing. This is not a thing.
One of my favorite things about the podcast has to be Sparky's generalizations that have come out.
Oh, my
and
God,
just every time he comes out with them,
about.
my face is just, what? What are you talking about?
I mean-
The best one has to be there is a rite of passage for every teenager to dress as Hitler.
I was just about to say that, dude.
Guys, the thing is, I know what I meant by that. I'm just like, what I mean? Teenagers are dicks, and you've just got to allow them to be dicks, I think was what I meant from that. But yeah, what the problem is? Some of those things I say that don't look good written down, do they? So and that's one of the rules, isn't it? If it doesn't look good written down after you said it, don't
Try not to say it out loud.
So yeah, okay, I'll take that. You know what though? Someone's put it out, and it's like, Jim, the effort you put in every single week to the introduction is one of my favorite bits. So how are you going to abuse me for being short this week? And I genuinely, I look forward to it. And then on the days you were off, and we all took turns in covering for you, like the pressure I felt to be half as good as the intros you did. So mate,
it's stressful. To be honest, that's the bit I'm not going to miss. Come on with those. There's nothing sweeter than on a Sunday, something popping in my head going, oh, yes, that makes sense. And there's nothing worse than 8:20 going, I've got nothing. I've absolutely got nothing on the Tuesday just before we go live.
That's when Jim frantically search South African people. Okay,
Yeah,
Wikipedia. All right, go on. Okay, all right, we've got one.
I'm surprised I don't get more targeted ads for South African stuff because I'm always like South African cake, South African theme park.
Well, here's a secret. That's what I do in my news story every week. So sometimes when I just read the headline.
Jack, no one noticed.
Wait, are you telling me that's not a secret?
No, but Jack, let's be real. Your best news story that you ever did, and it is definitely one of my favorite highlights of the podcast, was you were like, guys, I've got some news. It's personal this week. And us guys are like, oh, whoa, they're having another kid. And he was like, no, I'm not a vegan anymore. And we all cheered you. And then you came out of veganism in the most hardcore fucking way. You just were like, yeah, and a kebab and a meat feast pizza. And I was like, so proud of you, man. So proud of you.
It wasn't falling off the wagon. It was blowing the wagon up.
Yes,
It was Semtex.
I dived headfirst into the meat and cheese pool.
So also, the other things we learned about Jack is that he goes to the toilet the wrong way around, which is I still quite often think about when I'm going to the toilet in the night. I'm thinking, how is it a better option to face the cistern?
Maybe Jack's really affectionate, dude, and he just likes to give it a hug and a cuddle and rest his head on it.
I just don't want to sit on my bollocks. It's as simple as that.
But I'm 43 years old and I've never done that. Ever.
Maybe your bollocks aren't as heavy.
Yeah, I mean, you must have some right old globes down there, mate, for that to be going on.
Yeah, Jack. Well, apparently Jack's been part of No Nut November since 2016.
It's got 2 watermelons down there. Jesus. I'll tell you what, though, Brad.
It's like whenever Jack goes for a swim at the local, dude, his balls just floating back up to the top.
Brad, I'm definitely going to miss your just the way. Well, I'm not going to miss because we're definitely going to just hang out still. But every Tuesday, I'm going to miss the, just what you come out with. You are hysterical, mate, and a proper cool sound bloke. You crack me up every single week, and I love how real you are. Even when you've got us three going, no, you shouldn't do that, and you're like, no, fuck off, do that if you want. No, fair play, Brad. I really love that about you, man.
That's been good. The moments of Brad saying something and my face going, what is he saying?
Yeah.
This is brilliant.
yeah, that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
best one I remember was when I think was it when we first did our first live, and all of a sudden, like, you guys were worried because I was throwing a brand under the bus about chocolate, and I was using like the phrase stealing, and you're like, no, you can't say that. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh, and you're in the same episode where the bank didn't want us because we did lots of swearing. We had to cut out a bit more because you had a big like, a massive rant about how all banks are evil.
Yes.
do you remember how
about
much?
that.
You remember how much used to get cut out of our actual
Oh,
off-the-air
so much.
recordings?
So much. There could be a whole podcast just on the stuff that I cut out of the first
Yeah.
60, 70 episodes.
Getting a text from Brad after it going, oh, you know that bit where I did that?
Yes.
That was like a normal Tuesday evening. Like, do you reckon you should take that out? Like, oh, maybe. Oh.
Oh, yeah,
I-
man.
So when I told Danny that this show was going to come to an end, she said, because she's listened every week, sorry, not to rub it in, Brad, but she's listened every week since we started. You know, it's become part of her listening on her journey to work.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, like, I'm gutted. I'm really going to miss it. And I said, well, you live with me. I said, like, you'll still get some of it. And she went, yeah, but Jim's the funny one.
Hey!
I went, oh, get lost.
Come on.
Quite an honour. I like that. Yeah, like Brad's renovations have been a big thing. Obviously, that's been a massive storyline throughout this
Yeah.
whole thing.
I think I've also caught COVID more times than probably most people in the country.
Yeah, than any other member of the
And-
UK
and-
population.
You
Yeah,
literally should have been called the South African variant the whole bloody
Yeah,
time.
I know, right? Honestly, I read an article the other day which I chuckled at because it was like, if you've caught COVID for a second time, you're at double the chance of death. I went, fuck yeah, I am immortal.
Lame. We also learned about Brad's Christmas tradition, is Thai food on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Of
I hope you'll be
course.
doing that this year.
Actually, we're breaking it a little bit, dude.
No way. Chinese.
Gotta get a nice little curry as well.
Yeah.
No. We've actually ordered some traditional English stuff, so we're kind of trying to
wow.
lean into that vibe a little bit. You know, maybe assimilate more into this whole English culture. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
It's only been how many years?
Yeah, I've only been here 15 years. So
Gonna try and catch. So you've had COVID twice. Gonna try and catch bird flu now by getting a turkey.
You've had
with all
COVID
the-
3 times.
Sorry,
times.
thrice. Had
yeah,
COVID
thrice.
Sorry, guys, ruined my own joke there. But yeah, now bird flu because that's the new pandemic. I remember. Yeah. Keep your poultry inside, please. That's what we're asking until Christmas.
Yeah, man. I'm just gonna miss all of this, though, guys. I know, like we've had some serious conversations about like how this is all going and all that, and I know it's a decision that we all made, but it's still it's difficult because like every Tuesday, you guys have been my family away from family.
Yeah, you know the
That's made it
therapy.
easier.
Thank
Yeah.
you, wife. She might not watch, she might not tune in, but she brought me a fresh one.
Okay, there you go.
See why you married her. But genuinely, though, it does feel like a bit of therapy, right? And you know how, like it's different. I feel like this podcast brought us together as mates, and
definitely.
it introduced us, and I think
We
that
didn't
we're
know
all-
each other from Adam.
No,
honestly,
and that's what makes me so proud about this podcast because we've still managed to make this, and something is good, and we get on so well now. Like I
Yeah.
actually think next Tuesday I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
like there will definitely be, or maybe 2 Tuesdays away. Like I'll
You'll still
enjoy-
be sat here like, come on.
yeah, go to the link, click
Yes,
on there, and
yeah.
just have an empty space. We're like, oh shit, man.
Do you, Sparky? Do you know how to pronounce Brad's name yet, though? His surname.
Nagal. I just like saying it like that, but is it Brad Nagal? It's not Nagal. Brad Nagley. Like that.
Oh my god, fucking!
No, Brad, I've lived my whole life.
Bradley Nagley.
Bradley Nagley.
Bradley.
Bradley
Yeah.
Nagley.
That's actually one of my favorite things. Is accidentally calling Brad Bradley, and because that's his trigger. And I'm just saying it affectionately, and he's like, "Don't call me Bradley."
Well, finding out your pet name was Sparks as well. We
Oh,
also
yeah.
called you
Oh, that
Sparks
was
off
great.
the back of that.
We've not used that enough, have we? You know,
No.
that was one of my favorite bits was when one of Brad's kids, I don't know, can't remember which one, gate crashed into the podcast, and we saw Brad's like scary dad eyes.
Yes.
Dad
turn around. He gave like a proper
That's so good.
look that could kill.
Yeah, that's my solid eye, man. My solid stink eye.
And because we weren't live streaming then, so other people won't
No.
have seen it. But
No.
and it was probably when we cut those bits out, but I can't even remember.
Oh, I think I released it as
No,
a
I
clip.
think,
Oh,
yeah,
did
I
it?
think,
Yeah,
I think
you'll
it
have to go.
went-
You'll have to go back to the archives, but it's
Yeah.
there.
It was like the other one, I think, where I went and woke Logan up to just ask him if he could answer. I think there was a question we couldn't
Yes,
settle on the
yeah.
answer on, so I went and woke him up for a deciding opinion.
And parents
what-
across the land were like, waking up a sleeping child. What is that about?
Is he mad?
I
But-
think we have, we asked this question on the Loose Dads podcast Facebook group, and obviously the iconic Loose Dad story came up. The one that I think gets mentioned more than any other Loose Dad story, and that is Brad having a cheeky tug in the shower
Oh,
hours post vasectomy.
Oh,
Honestly,
Yeah.
like I work for Dadsnet, and I've been to a lot of Dadsnet meetups, and I've met listeners to the show, and it's without fail, it's one of the things they will bring up in conversation with
Did
me.
you really do that?
just in case people haven't heard it, Brad, did it go well or not?
It was going well up until a point. Up
Mm.
until a climatic point, it felt okay, and then it just didn't feel okay.
Was it like a burn, or was it sort of like an implosion of the ball sort of feeling? Which, like, could you just like just
Okay, if I could explain it, right? It was okay. So like the feeling of getting kicked in the nuts, right, or hitting the nuts, or like we're dads. We all know what it's like to take something, like even a tiny tap to the nuts.
they're the
It's
worst.
like that, but then like after 5 seconds, you get that burning, pulling feeling in your stomach, right? It's like getting that, but like 10 times worse in your testicles, and it feels like someone is trying to pull your testicles from your body down to the ground.
So listen to your doctor is what you're actually saying is.
You know what? I think you'll probably find that someone did try it and went to the doctor and said it was painful, and the doctor then wrote in a medical journal in 1982 and said, "Don't masturbate shortly after this procedure," because someone actually has experience, and then they've just passed that on to generation to generation. So you get a dickhead like me who thinks, "Ha! What do they know?" It turns out they do know. They do know.
Well, there we go.
The
And
scientists.
if there's one bit of advice I want people to take from this podcast and our 2 years and 100 episodes, it's that.
Yeah.
And executive producer Connor has got one booked in next year.
So Connor,
Don't ever wank, dude. Don't do it. But if
Don't
you do,
tug.
let me know how it went.
I've got a strap line for it. Don't tug after you've been unplugged. Right. That's the one, guys. Connor, remember it, mate. Get a t-shirt with that made on it, Brad, please.
The lasting motto of Loose Dads. It's what we would have wanted. It's what we would have wanted to be known for. So I mean, there's not much. I was gonna say, tell someone about the podcast. Don't bother. There's no need. Unless I mean, as I say, there's like 100 hours, more than 100 hours of top quality entertainment. Well, I mean, a couple of hours of top quality entertainment, and a lot of film. But it's all there on the internet forever. So good luck.
And to be honest with you, we'll still earn ad revenue from it. So go back and listen to all 100 episodes.
Or to kind of to emphasize what you're saying, Jim, would just if you want to hear most of our material, just go watch Gary Delaney's latest.
Oh, that's been such a good thread.
That's been the best.
The
dude.
most
enjoyed
painful
that
one
so
for
much.
Jim. He's like,
I've
shut up.
enjoyed that so much.
Can I just clear the air with this? Started comedy at the same time as Gary Delaney. We did gigs together. No one stole anyone's material. However, there was another comedian at the time who very much did steal some of my material, who forgot that he'd stolen it off me and saw me before a gig, said hello, then did my material when I was there. And
Amazing.
and his name was not Gary Delaney. But
Was,
if anyone,
was
if
it
anyone
James Corden?
well, I could say that, wouldn't I? And it wouldn't be defamation because I could prove that's in character. But, I mean, if anyone wants to know, just DM me. But it's not that exciting. They're not a famous comedian anymore. But yeah, I was going to finish this, but I've just noticed the latest comment is Lancashire is so much better than Yorkshire, and I don't want to finish it on that.
Let's see Jim's fight at the very end of Loose Dads. Let's see him. See the red mist. Go.
The calm and collective voice of Loose Dads.
Yeah.
Loose
Yeah.
Dads.
Jim, well done for trying to keep, herding these load of cats for
No,
100 episodes, mate. You've done
Jim,
a decent
You've
job.
done bloody well to get us off topics that will get us cancelled.
Yeah.
Loose sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of sponsors for, a show where it could have happened at any time. Like anything could happen. Sometimes does. But yeah, so this is Loose Dads. Then thank you very much for listening. If you've listened to one episode or 101 episodes, then we really appreciate it. And yeah, it's weird. I don't know how to finish this show.
Well,
even the outro music feels a bit too upbeat.
I just want to say I've thoroughly enjoyed it, guys. Thank you very much for the experience. Thank you for being such great mates. Thank you for putting up with my bullshit. Thank you to everyone else for giving us a chance. It's been awesome.
It's been an absolutely incredible 2 years. We joke about the therapy, but it actually
genuinely.
has been.
It genuinely is, isn't it? really is.
We, especially before we were doing the lives, jumping on and just chatting shit about our weeks, getting that out of our system before we could do it. And without being a Dadsnet corporate boy, that's what Dadsnet's about. That's why we got together, is so that dads didn't feel alone in what they were doing in their parenting journey. And my God, did we find that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love you
So
guys.
make sure you
Love you too,
do
man.
connect with Dadsnet, and keep connecting with Dadsnet, and we're all on there, and it's a great place to be for that community. So there you go. We're probably just gonna have to stop it now, aren't we?
Yeah, no, they just got to do that thing like now. Like, okay, so we just pat our legs, get up and leave, like us.
Jim's got to do his
That's it,
final
guys.
thank yous, doesn't he?
So,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, sorry. There
For
we
the
go.
final time.
Yeah, so for the final time, thank you very much to Brad.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you to Jack.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sparky.
cheers, boys.
And thank you to all the people who've done the lovely comments and listened to this show. Bye.
Loose Dads, a Dadsnet original podcast.